It's the end of a long work week, or the end of a school week. You and your friends all come up with this amazing idea. We're all gonna go somewhere and party. And it's just 5 or 6 of you. And you guys think, this is a great idea. You know what? Let's go to the store. We'll get a bunch of food, alcohol, and we'll go somewhere. Only one problem. Where are you gonna go? You go to a friend's house, but you've got your parents, you've got kids, you have things to worry about. So you guys come up with an idea of, hey, there's an old secluded cabin out on the lake where we used to work. Let's go out there and party. It's off season. We have the keys. Let's do it. We'll clean up when we're done. No one will be none the wiser. So you guys go. You guys are hanging out, having a good time, drinking, partying, fooling around, doing drugs. Next thing you know, you get that weird feeling, like you're being watched. And you know the feeling. It makes you feel like your stomach's really queasy, or the hair stand up on the back of your neck. It's your lizard brain talking to you. It's telling you something is not right about this place. And you've seen enough 80s slasher flicks to know better, but why did you put yourself in that scenario? Because human beings by nature like to be scared. At some point, it's deep and primal. We like to feel the fear. And that scenario I just described to you is probably the scenario in about a dozen horror flicks, especially the 80s slashers, which are, by the way, one of my favorites. And a topic in tonight's episode of Profile Matters. Hello, guys. It's your host, Cameron. My goodness, has it been a while. I want to apologize for how long it has been. I have been so busy, and it's not just work, and it's not just home life. I'm getting married in July, in case you guys didn't know. And if you guys did know, I'm glad you guys did. But if you didn't, mazel tov to me. I'm getting married, and it's pretty exciting. I'm excited. I'll be married in July, which is a week after our 5-year anniversary, so it's pretty exciting as well. But yeah, between that and work and, trying to get everything ready, and I had a little vacation I just got back from. I pretty much just took a sabbatical away from pretty much everything. And it was good to help me clear out the cobwebs and kind of figure out where I wanted to go with the show since they have a new, co-host. We're probably going to be stepping away from the psychology aspect and jumping back into the more serial killer and one-on-one horror aspect of things. I've even thought about maybe tossing around a thing where me and my sister watch a horror movie every once in a while and do a review on it. That'd be kind of interesting, right? Let me know what you guys think about that in the comments, or send me a message or something. Those who think that we could do a movie once, in the middle of an episode, or once every other episode, watch a movie, do a review on it, and pick out the psychological aspects and go over them. We'll totally do that. That would be pretty cool. On tonight's episode, we're not going to be covering all slashers, all horror slashers. We're not going to cover like Nightmare on Elm Street or what's another really good one? Of course, Halloween, which is definitely one of my favorites. We're going to be covering something that's close to Friday the 13th. Close to it. Not the exact movie. But we are actually going to be covering a good slasher flicks. It was 1983, I believe. And this film is... it's something that I had never seen, but I've always thought about watching, but I'm just like, no, I'm not going to watch it. I'll wait till later. And I just never got around to watching it. But I'd always heard it was really good. And so me and my sister decided, you know what, we're going to get a bowl of popcorn, and we're going to sit down, we're going to watch it, and we'll dissect it, and we'll talk about it on the show. And that's exactly what we did for this episode. And the film is called Sleepaway Camp. And if you guys have seen it, it is very campy and just, it's silly, but it's interesting. The deaths are all very elaborate. The ending, I think, is something that when I visualize it now actually terrifies the living hell out of me. Like, it was so scary. Like, me and my sister were just stunned, and we had to ask ourselves what the hell just happened at the end, because it was just so crazy, scary, creepy. Definitely a good movie. Good movie. And if you guys have never seen it before, I would suggest watching it before you listen to the episode, and it'll make it that much more enjoyable because you go, "Oh my gosh, I picked that up on that too." If you didn't, that's fine. This is just more a review. We're not going to be going into like details, so we're not going to give anything away. But suffice to say, you should definitely give it a watch if you haven't, and then listen to the episode. If not, when you're done listening, watch it. It's definitely an interesting one. So. Don't know what we're going to be doing for our future episodes. We've got a couple of ideas. We're going to keep, of course, talking about serial killers, things like that. But we're going to veer off course just a little bit and then come back, veer off, come back. Just to make sure that we're covering a couple of different things. We might even do books, review a book about a serial killer or something like that. And then, of course, we're still going to be conducting interviews and things like that as well. But yeah, so anywho, I guess we should go ahead and slice this open and start poking around so you guys can, get a feel for what we're doing here. This is my sister's first official podcast as our co-host, so, I hope you guys enjoy her and enjoy it. I know she's definitely enjoying it as well. So if you guys have any questions, comments, or reviews, or anything that you think, please feel free to ask. And if not, like I said, we're going to keep on doing this as long as we have you guys listening. So, all right, let's go ahead and slice this thing open and start poking around. All right, guys.
Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to Profile Matters. This is your host, Cameron, speaking. This is going to be an introduction for my sister, Brittany. Say hello.
Hello, everybody.
She is going to be our new co-host, if you didn't already know. And we're just going to hop in here real quick and have her answer a few questions about who she is and where she comes from and what she does and, how she became interested in the field of true crime. All right. Go ahead, Brittany.
Okay. 26. I'm a mom to a 5-year-old boy. He's a freak.
Yes, he is.
I lived in Kentucky for about 4.5 years. I had gotten my degree in applied science. I have an associate's degree. I moved back home after 4.5 years. Nothing really too spectacular. Then you said you want to know why I'm into true crime?
Yeah. What kind of drew you into that field? I've always been drawn into that field just because I've always been interested in the darker things. That's just how I am. But other people have other reasons for why they are interested.
I feel like mine kind of overlaps with that in a bit. I feel like, I was introduced to the horror aspect of life at a very young age because of you, Cameron. Mm-hmm. We started watching horror movies probably way younger than what we should have, but we had a real love for it. Then as I got older, I loved the pathology side of things and seeing what people are capable of doing to other people and seeing what they're capable of doing to themselves on a mental and physical level.
So you would say, not so much physically, but you would say that the medical side is
absolutely the medical side is what drew me in. Kind of a science geek in that sort of place.
Okay.
So yeah.
All right. Well, to get our gears going and we started relatively small. We didn't want to jump into a huge project. I have been extremely busy, as I already mentioned at the beginning of this, I'm getting married and all that stuff. So we've been busy with other things. And of course I took a little sabbatical away from doing these just to, try to make sure we had our ducks in a row and things like that. So we wanted to start small. So we wanted to kind of cover a smaller topic, something just, pretty small. Like 80s slasher horror flicks. So to get our feet wet in that, we watched Sleepaway Camp last night, 1987. No, 82 or 84, I think. It was very early 80s.
Let's see. Let's look it up.
double check on that. But we did watch it, and it starts out a little slow.
1983. I was way off.
1983. Okay, I was wrong too because it was in between 2 and 4.
But still an older film.
An older film of the 80s genre, and as you guys know, 80s horror flicks are they're always they're campy, and you watch them to mostly make fun of them. I feel like you do that just because if you didn't grow up watching them, you see all the newer stuff now, so it creates this level of the film's got to be this good.
Yeah, I feel like the horror nowadays definitely feeds to you. You don't even have to have an imagination, really.
Exactly, and I feel like there's no working for it, and that's why I like the 80s films, because they any older horror flick made you work to be scared. Mm-hmm. It didn't just, they didn't just rely on jump scares and crap like that, which is good. I feel like that was very lackluster. But the movie started off kind of slow, right?
It started off slow because we weren't really sure what to expect, but then right as soon as
the last 35 minutes of the film, it was
the last 3 minutes, we were stunned. We had to stop and think about what we really just saw.
What we just saw, yeah. It was pretty, I don't know, I'm not gonna lie, I did have a little bit of some freaked out thoughts that last 2 minutes of that scene.
Yeah, definitely not what we expected.
Shit. It was great though. It was very good. I did enjoy it, but it was interesting though because we did make sure that we took some mental notes about the film to kind of go over differences between 80s slasher films and the psychology behind them. I will point out some things that I noticed, and then you can point out some stuff that you noticed.
Okay.
So I would say I noticed that it was a very sexually ambiguous film.
Absolutely.
It was very big on, there were guys that were dressed up in sluttier outfits than some of the girls were.
Absolutely.
I mean, there was a guy who had a crop top on that looked like it was a bathing suit top for a girl at one point, and he had these short shorts on.
I feel like they were wearing what girls would wear at Coachella today.
There you go, exactly. And that was so interesting to me. It was funny, yeah, but it was interesting to me because it was like, okay, so guys back then, that was probably the norm for guys to dress in those extremely short booty shorts like that and crop tops and stuff. And it was not like that for girls. They would wear the long, t-shirts down to
They were a lot more modest.
And it was interesting to me to see the fashion side of that because in this day and age that's something that just would not apply for males in our society at all. And that was
only because of how society is towards males now.
Exactly. And that's what I feel like the differences in the film were. And normally when you watch a horror film, people Dr. Niding once said on one of our other podcasts, that most horror films have some sort of there's some sort of slasher films are about degrading women. In this film, I'll be honest, I didn't so much see all of it towards the women. There was a lot more male deaths than there were women. But there was actually a sexual component to it, though.
Yes, absolutely. Yeah, that's what I was going to say. It's not that it was more men got killed than women. I feel like when you got to the last minute of the film, you could understand why this person or this thing chose its prey the way it did. Mm-hmm. And at that point, it wasn't about gender, and it wasn't about equality or who brought what. It was simply about revenge.
Yep. Exactly, and that's what a lot of those slasher films really they delve into is revenge scenarios. So I thought this was an interesting film to jump into because yes, there were scenes where the psycho, the psycho was wielding a knife or a weapon of some sort, but they definitely thought outside the box. That was a new thing for me though. Watching it was like,
Yeah, there was a lot more different types of deaths in this kind of film than you'd ever see anything like that nowadays.
It was stuff very natural, very natural ways. I mean, some of them it was kind of like, well, how would you die from that naturally? But then it was just like, okay, well, this is a film, and I'm sure that it was just kind of really for shock value. But there were some pretty crazy scenes in there. But yeah, definitely if you guys have not watched Sleepaway Camp,
give it a chance.
Give it a chance and watch it. They've got it on YouTube. You can find it on there, I'm sure. Or you can go download it, or you can buy it, however you want to do it. There were some funny scenes in it. I thought because it's as weird as it is to say, most of the main characters were young teenagers, like around 13, 12, 13, 14. Like, it was really weird seeing it, and I'm not saying they're kids killing each other. I mean, like, little kids or nothing like that, but it was definitely, you got to give it a watch, because there were some funny parts. Like, not, oh man, this is funny because how stupid it is. No, funny because it was actually funny.
There were a lot of deep psychological aspects to it, just because, the death scenes really did require you to use your imagination, because, I mean, the curling iron scene last night.
Yeah.
We could have interpreted the scene many different ways, and that was the cool part, because this movie is not telling you how to feel or what to think. It's giving you the free range of, you decide where the story goes from here.
Yeah, it's got a somewhat of a storyline, but everything else is all for you to fill in. You're able to fill in the blanks with what you're thinking is happening.
And I feel like if you watch the first 5 minutes and you really indulge and pay attention, and then the last 5 to 10 minutes,
it all ties
together. So there's a lot of meaningless things in the middle. But if you look at it and you put them all together, they're actually pretty valid points.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it filled in the gaps pretty well, which I thought was kind of exciting.
The gender aspect of it is what I find funny. There was a lot of bullying.
There was a lot of bullying,
a lot of bullying in this movie, and nowadays people try so hard to steer clear of that, because there's so many triggers nowadays, and it's kind of nice to see a film that's so raw, and it really does. You can put yourself in somebody's position in that film.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, it wasn't. They weren't scared to go there. That's for sure. But it was interesting just to see, because there were guys bullying girls, there were girls bullying guys, and there were guys bullying other guys and girls bullying other girls. Like, it wasn't just one gender versus the other. It was bouncing all over the place. So it was kind of a free range film, I think.
Yeah.
Because I feel like anyone could have been a victim. In a weird way, it was inequality by being equality. It was weird to say, because it was equally devastating for everybody there. There wasn't one person being everybody was miserable pretty much, and it wasn't like
you're
one
away
person.
At camp. You hate it.
But it wasn't like, it was just, this film is this is a bias. This person who made up this film was a woman hater, or this guy, or woman who made this film was a man hater. It wasn't any of that. It was, this is a scenario where there's a story, something crazy is going to happen at the beginning that's going to lead towards the events of the end, and all the rest of these little red herrings left throughout the film are
going to tie right back up to the beginning.
And then you just got these people all over the place. Anyone could have been a victim. So it was a equal opportunity.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely.
Yeah, definitely. It was definitely very interesting.
I feel like in the movie, with each death, everybody got a little more on edge. So it made them more apt to become a victim.
Exactly. Yeah, it was just an interesting film for
comparison reasons.
I first thought about watching this film, of course, because we were doing the 80s thing, and by the way, the music at the beginning, was pretty incredible. That was actually provided by a guy who makes 80s slasher music just for fun. I knew we were going to cover a topic that had to do with something like that. But also what it boiled down to was we were going to be here on vacation up in the mountains, and we're in like this big cabin type thing, and I was just kind of like, we should watch a film that's kind of around that era, old-fashioned style, they're kind of out at camp, something to that nature, and this definitely kind of, I feel like, worked in the favor of that. But it was a good way for us to get started. for you anyways.
Yeah.
So that way we could, just delve in and do a couple of small things.
It was easy for us to put ourselves in the perspective of these people because we're kind of similar in the similar area, I guess. We're not away at camp, but we're away on vacation in the middle of the woods on the top of a mountain.
And nowhere.
In the middle of nowhere next to like this big river. And as beautiful as it is, it's dangerous. And if you've seen as many horror films as we have, our immediate thought is to go to, oh God, we're going to get killed. Oh God, there's like a serial killer out here. Something's going to happen.
Yeah. The place where we're staying at, there's a dad. My dad had found the room downstairs.
Yes.
We called it the Red Room, and it's like a cellar. And he said this whole room is painted red, and it is painted. The whole room is painted red.
I mean, top, bottom, everything.
Every inch.
Everything
it's coated
is
in red.
Yes.
And when I went down there with you, and you went in, and she walked all in, and you had your flashlight and everything, and there, of course, you were like, "Oh my God, there's spiders everywhere."
Yeah, it was disgusting, but it added to this fear of horror, because even though practically we both knew that there was nothing down there,
here.
But we took it to a place where, oh God, there's gonna be like a guy with a machete hanging out in here, and he's gonna hack us to pieces in the middle of the night, which is far-fetched, very far-fetched, but still fun.
Exactly. And then we're also thinking about the whole, we were in one of these closets in here, and we found this big trunk, and we're talking I'm talking, it's a big trunk. Like you could put two people in there.
I was about to say, easily you could put two bodies in there.
It's a big trunk. Well, I opened it up. I didn't think anybody else had gone in there, but apparently Brittany had gone in there at one point too. And
we're too similar.
There was clothes that had been folded and packed in those the sealable tight baggy, like
the space bags that you can suck the air out of them. So there was
tons of clothes and toiletries and
all bagged separately.
And there was a bottle of aftershave in there. They don't make anymore. Like they stopped making it like 2 years ago. I'm sure you could probably order it, but it just didn't seem likely somebody ordered that and
just to leave it here
in a Ziploc bag. But it was just weird. It's like, this is probably all stuff people had left here. But I'm just like, that is so weird that they would keep something like that for 2 years in a trunk.
It immediately made me feel like, oh God, today is our last day here. This is the day that we're going to get killed, and all of our stuff is going to be put in that trunk like there's trophies.
Exactly. But see, that's what I was talking about. That's where you take those elements or everything that you've learned or you pick up on, and you apply them to modern day stuff. So, and we've talked about that before when we've gone through the serial killer or the killer versus the victim genre, that you immediately think, oh man, all right, this is the bad side of this. So it was definitely it's definitely been an interesting trip, that's for sure.
Yeah.
But yeah, for our next thing, I'm not really sure what we're going to cover, but I know it'll be something interesting. But we just want to, like I said, start something small and go into what we thought about that movie, and then just kind of, introduce you.
Yeah.
To get you ready for next time. So, yeah. But do you have anything else you want to say, or?
While we've been on this trip, we didn't really get to watch a lot of movies. We had made the plan to watch quite a few different films to gear up for this podcast, and we watched Sleepaway Camp, to make sure that it coincided with our podcast. But we had also watched a movie on Hulu called Mindhunters, and that ended up being a really good movie.
Oh yeah,
that created a whole new thought.
Yeah, it was
behind true crime.
It was like, I'll just give you a quick synopsis of it. It was these 6 FBI agents in training. Val Kilmer is the trainer. He's like their teacher, and they are all profilers, and they're all getting trained and stuff like that, and they're all being taken to an island, and I forget the name of where the island is, but they get taken there, and it's owned by the FBI, and this is where they use it for training purposes. So what they're going to do is they're going to take them there, and they're going to put
Navy SEALs were training there.
We're training there,
yeah.
and but the FBI borrows every once in a while. That's what he said. So they take them all there, and they're supposed to set up all kinds of crime scenes, and you're supposed to like catch this serial killer that's loose on the island, and they're supposed to work together as a team, and they're there, and they've got all this FBI equipment where they're staying and all this other stuff, and LL Cool J's in it too, actually, and then which he's always in good stuff like that, and then I forget the main girl's name. She was in Cold Case, that show Cold Case. So it was pretty cool watching her be in something like this. And there were some other good actors and actresses in it that you'd recognize. It was a good film, though. It was very racy. If you are a fan of CSI, any of the CSI shows and Criminal Minds, and then just like horror films with serial killers, this is actually perfect for you, because it's just an interesting take on, normally serial killers don't go after cops or other serial killer hunters.
It was neat to see the profilers get profiled.
Yeah, that was interesting. Yeah. So it was a good film. So if you've never watched it, give it a shot.
It was good. It doesn't really tie in with what we were talking about, but definitely still a good film.
Still a good film. Well, that's pretty much it that we have for today. Brittany, are you ready?
Yeah, I'm so excited to get started with this and start diving deeper into some different projects.
Well, we will definitely have some new stuff for you guys when we come back. Thank you so much, Brittany.
Yeah, thank you.
No problem. And we'll go ahead and cut here, and we'll talk to you guys next time.
Bye, guys.
Bye.
All right, we are back. So pretty cool, right? Sister's a great person. I'm glad that she's going to be enjoying joining us on this ride, and I hope you guys are going to enjoy her being around and her perspective on a few things, and I think it's going to be enjoyable. So I hope you guys have enjoyed this episode, and I hope you guys are enjoying the episodes in general. Like I said, I don't know what we're doing for our next one, but just, tune in. When we do, I'll make sure that I post it up and you guys will know about it immediately. I'm sure anybody who's listening on Podbean or on YouTube or wherever you guys are listening to them, I know you guys will pop up and be like, oh my gosh, a new episode's out, oh my gosh. Because I know it is such a gap in between when I do them. Like I said, I'm working on it. I think once things eventually calm down, and I get a rhythm going, I think it'll be okay. I am still fairly new at this. I'll be doing this for a little over a year, maybe a year and a half, almost two. But I am still learning things every single day about podcasting, about the equipment, about the material, about what you guys are enjoying, not enjoying. All of it is a very great learning experience. So either way, I'm learning something. I hope you guys are learning something. And I hope I can keep doing this for as long as you guys are listening. So feel free to please leave me any feedback, comments, messages, suggestions, whatever. Please, I don't get enough comments from you guys, and please just let me know if you enjoyed it, if you didn't, or if you guys have a suggestion for another episode or something you think I should do. I've done that before in the past, so please don't be afraid to ask, because you might just receive. Also, I'd like to go ahead and give a big shout out to Karate King Records for allowing us to use this awesome music that's in the background. It's just great music. It was by After Dark. It's 80s horror synth, like a retro thing. It's awesome. I'll include a link to their work and everything like that in here, so you can go ahead and pull it up and listen. Great music though. So yeah, anyways, thank you so much. We appreciate you letting us use your music, and I do hope you guys enjoyed this episode. And if you guys have any additional questions, like I said, just shoot me a message or anything like that. All right, I'll catch you guys next time on another episode of Profile Matters. Good night, guys.